You make my high come down. Ooh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. Never have to cut you out like right now. You see, I don't have to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke some. Me try the marijuana. I was never you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they feelings changed. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and the color on your lip.
Welcome to Seahawks Man to Man podcast, powered by Blue Wire. Shout out to the new company. My name is Michael-Shawn and You guys know where to follow me at. Whatever Elon Musk is calling that app these days, I'm there at Mike Dugar, MikeDugar. Also over there on Blue Sky by the same handle. Shout out to me on there. Follow me. Follow us on Instagram. TikTok, Seahawks Man to Man is the name of the handle. Seahawks Man, the number 2 man. That is also the same as our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Please, please, please. Even if you are someone who mostly just does audio, it just means the world to us to hit those 2 buttons. So thank you in advance. Chris, go ahead and talk to him.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Christopher Kidd. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at CKIDD206 and that's CKid206.
I'm gonna try to post the questions, ask questions thing more on Blue Sky. I forgot today. It was late, a lot going on. So I'm sorry if you sent me a question there. We're just gonna it was just on X today or Twitter, whatever the hell, tweet machine. But we'll get to those later. Chris, our streak has been broken. This is the negative post game show. Lots of nuts and bolts of the negative. I'll start by saying this. I don't know if Geno's okay. He left locker room, didn't talk to him. He wasn't available. Mike McDonald says he doesn't know. So we'll just right there, we don't know. He could be okay. He could not be. He was limping. He looked like he was in pain. We'll see. Either way, Seahawks took an L, 30-13. Yuck. Lost at home again. Yuck. Fell out of the playoff picture. Yuck. Just a big box of yuckiness that they checked all across the board. And Chris, I feel like this week was the exact opposite from a urgency standpoint. We talked a lot about urgency and the mindset last week. They had a lot to play for in that Cardinals game in week 14. Both teams had a lot to play for. The Seahawks looked like a team that had a lot to play for. The Cardinals did not. That was perhaps the most encouraging part of that game before getting into the nuts and bolts, the O-line, the run game defense, all that stuff. It was just the fact that if you just looked at the 2 teams, you'd be like, wow, the team in white is playing much harder and more urgent than the team in red. That was just kind of a general, or black, whatever. Just a general thought if you were just watching the game, didn't realize like the stakes. If you were to do that same exercise on Sunday night, all right, which team is playing harder? The team in these super fire action green jerseys or the team in white? Like if you know nothing else, you're just watching that. The most disappointing aspect of today is for the first 30 minutes, it changed for the defense later, because for the first 30 minutes, it looked like this was the game mattered much more to the Packers. Obviously, it didn't, like mentally, emotionally, you can't speak for every guy on the roster, but it just looked like, based on the product on the field, that this meant more to the Packers. And that is, as much as last week was very encouraging, on the flip side of that, tonight at the crib in primetime is like the total other end of the spectrum in terms of disappointment, and that they came out in a very big game and kind of laid an egg. That when you got John Ryan there, I think he was the flag raiser. When you got the other alums, back, I bumped into Jermaine Kearse on my way in, and Cliff, actually, who I think got honored after the first quarter. You could tell, it's like, okay, this is that, let's get that vibe back. Let's get that Lumen Field, tough place to play, rocking nighttime. Nah, nope. The Packers came in here and put it on them, and that's really disappointing considering how big the game was. And the Seahawks were at the crib and laid an egg,
And that's something that we talked about last week when I said, man, the Seahawks have struggled winning games at home. And then for that to take place, now I'm not going to sit here and act as if I believe the Seahawks would win. I know Mike and I disagreed. Mike thought this was a game that the Seahawks could win. I didn't see that. I just still thought the Packers were the better football team. And boy, did they show it, especially in that first drive. My goodness, man. It was I tweeted out it was the Green Bay Jacobs 7 and the Seahawks 0 because the first touches were all Josh Jacobs. Like my entire sheet for that first drive, Josh Jacobs, Josh Jacobs, Josh. They just said, "Here you go, buddy." They had no problem with giving him the football through the air, on the ground, and right then and there, that was all I needed to know. That first drive told me everything I need to know about the defense, where the team was. It was going to be one of them long games, and unfortunately for the Seahawks on both sides of the ball, it was a long game. Now in the second half, the Seahawks defense did clamp down. They were a lot better, but all the eye candy, Ernest Jones mentioned it, and regarding to what the Packers were doing offensively prior to the snap, Mike McDonald also mentioned that as well. They just weren't good enough when it came to all the motions and things of that nature. Their eyes were all over the place, and they didn't have a strong base. And when those runs hit them, it hit them good. So that first drive was just, yeah, this might be a long night for the Seahawks. And then on offense, the Seahawks didn't respond. They ended up punting on their first drive. And the crazy thing is, it actually looked promising for the most part. I wasn't thinking this is going to be a punt. The first 3 plays, okay. They started off throwing the football, which is like, whoa, okay. Considering Zach Charbonnet had a career game last week against the Cardinals, I thought they would try to get the run game going again, but I get it. DK Metcalf, who Mike actually had as his standout plays from last week, just showing his importance on the field. They went right to him first play. So I guess I shouldn't be too surprised, but I thought they would definitely get the run game going and get into a rhythm. And then, yeah, that rhythm was just never found. Obviously, you guys know what happened with Geno Smith. He gets hurt. It was just a roller coaster that they were not ready for. They just got beat down at home, and that's an issue with this team. They've struggled at home, and now they have back-to-back games against caliber playoff teams. You have a team in the Minnesota Vikings that'll play on Monday Night Football, but they're 11-2 coming into so when you guys are seeing the show, the Vikings will have played, obviously, or will be playing. But right now, as it stands, they're a pretty darn good football team. They got 2 good receivers, a quarterback that can move the ball. And now the Seahawks are trying to figure out, okay, well, who are we? We thought we had our identity, and they definitely took a step back on Sunday night against the Green Bay Packers.
You know, it's interesting you say it was the Jacobses versus, the Jacobses were up 7-0 because I actually viewed it as, which is an extension of the same thing. It really felt like Matt LaFleur is up 7-0 on Mike McDonald.
Yeah,
the coaching matchup really felt like, and Mike mentioned this, that he got out coached. I mean, sometimes guys just say that to excuse. They don't want to just say my players stunk. Yeah, take accountability. And some of them did. Some of them just weren't good. In the first half, but it really felt like Matt LaFleur, just he got in his bag in a way that Mike didn't, and we've seen that from Mike McDonald. He admitted to screwing up the first drive of last week's game against Arizona, and he said the offense came right back and basically got the get back for him, and then I'm sure he'll probably say, "Yep, screwed up the first drive too again," and maybe the second, I don't know, but it definitely felt like Matt he won. He won. It definitely felt like he won to open, because that really is. I mean, you learn a lot about both coaches, both play callers, both when they start their little first 15 scripted plays, and then you learn about them after that too. But the way you can get guys to really come out firing is really important, I think. And Matt LaFleur had his guys locked in. Like, everything they did worked. Like, yes, a lot of it was through Josh Jacobs, but just kind of everything. And it was the using the eye candy. It was dressing up some formations and some looks to look like something the Seahawks had seen on film, and then it be something else. It was getting Jacobs to the second level, getting them on the linebackers. Ernest missed a bunch of tackles to start the game. Getting him Kobe should not be the first person touching Josh Jacobs. That happened a couple of times. I thought Matt LaFleur really got in his bag, and he's good at this. And this is one of those things. I don't know if it's an indictment of Mike, because he's just so new to the head coaching thing. This is his third year as a defensive coordinator, but it's a lot different. LaFleur, shoot, how long LaFleur been doing this? When did he get hired? 2019, I think. I'm pretty sure that's when he started. And he just kind of been doing this for a little bit longer, and it looked like it. We kind of talked about that with Grubb, his matchup versus defensive coordinators. This season has looked very similar, and I thought it looked like that again. It just kind of looked like two teams. You could see the inexperience. I don't know how experienced the Jets, or excuse me, Jets. I don't know how experienced the Packers DC is. Let me look at this. Yeah, it's like actually this is his first time as an NFL DC too, so he's new as well. So that's kind of disappointing on Grubb's part. But also his guys just couldn't block, and it was just same old story on offense. But like a big picture thing from a scheme standpoint and like an emotional urgency standpoint, it really just felt like Matt LaFleur had his guys. He had them ready to execute better. He had them playing with more urgency. Yeah, that's really deflating, because the reason I take it back to the coaches too is because we're learning so much about Mike and his energy and his mentality and how he gets guys up and ready. Like this week, for instance, he talked about how this was on Friday. He talked about like this game is about, it's a big stage. It's about us becoming who we want to become, and getting to where we want to be. And then I asked him later in that press conference Friday, I was like, okay, who do you want to be? And he said, it's on the mural over there. It's on the wall, and he's referring to the wall that says a style that no one wants to play or no one else wants to play or something like that. And cool, that's who you want to be. That is not who they were. It was an instance of something, Chris, we've talked about quite a bit. What you say Monday through Saturday, you being Mike McDonald, not me. You being Mike McDonald, what you say Monday through Saturday needs to come out on Sunday. If it does not, that is on you. Like it's on individual players to some extent too, and the coordinators, but ultimately head of the snake type thing. And this was an example of that not being the case. And it was really it really stuck out in my mind that he was just like, yeah, look, it's on the wall. That's who we want to be. And it's like, cool. I just kind of bookmarked that. You just like bookmark a tweet, or something, or like something so you can go look at it later. I kind of just bookmarked that over here in the left side of the brain. And it was like, I'm going to come back to that, win or lose. And they lost. And this is not it. It's not who they want to be. They weren't the more physical team. They weren't the more prepared team. They weren't the more urgent team. They weren't feeding off their crowd. It was loud as hell for the Packers in there. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little later too. But just before we get into any schematics or anything else, or Geno, Sam Howell, all that stuff, defense, it really does feel like this was a coaching L. It is. I mean, players still got to perform, but it's because we're evaluating Mike in year one and his staff and everybody. This was a really big game for not just the players, but him too. And he lost. I don't know if it means much for the big picture, but he lost today. That's for sure. Like just looking at today, like Matt LaFleur had his boys right. Everything they did worked for about 30 minutes on both sides of the ball. That's on the road, bro. That's really, really impressive stuff. And it seems like that's kind of what you can get sometimes with a veteran head coach who's just got a feel for his team's identity. And I think, do they have a couple extra days to prepare for this too?
They did because they were on Thursday night, correct?
Yeah, and I do think that Seahawks fans rightfully complain about that. I understand that's a legit complaint. This is one of those games where you could actually feel that. They look like a team that had like a couple days more, especially that opening script. That was ballsy. The film of that's going to look incredible for the Packers, right? Not for the Seahawks. It's going to look incredible, So I thought this was a big coaching L, something that they're going to have to bounce back from, starting at the top. I thought Mike and his guys they took an L today as much as the players. We'll talk about the players too. But yeah, this was ugly.
And then not to mention, their second drive, things looked okay. They looked like there could be some positivity, but unfortunately, there was penalties that got in the way. I know Mike and myself.
Who's second drive? You talking about Seahawks offense?
Excuse me. The Seahawks second drive, it went 7 plays, I believe 40 yards.
Okay, gotcha.
And it started off, with a 7-yard pass to DK. So you're saying, okay, this could be something, and then their next play is a run that goes for a positive yards, and then there's offensive holding. So the same small issues that have plagued this team throughout the season just really came back in this week in a big game that was needed just to really solidify yourself as a good team that's good and ready for a playoff run. And just all those issues, not playing clean ball on both sides of the football. Riq out here panicking. The ball's underthrown, brother. If you just, I don't know, turn around, you might have the easiest interception this season for yourself, man. Those are just things that I know when he goes back and watches the tape, he's going to be rolling his eyes because there is no need to panic. Dude is the fastest person on the field next to Christian Watson, that is, who beat Mike. Was that an offensive pass interference? They didn't show the replay on that catch, but I know Riq I saw him motioning to the officials like, yo, from my vantage point, it looked like he just got barbecued, but I know you had the all 22. I don't know how close you saw it, but what do you
It looked like a little veteran shove. I was really upset that they didn't show any replays when it was very clear that Riq was motioning. You know, like and I
Yeah.
think it was Collinsworth who was calling the game, former
Yes.
receiver. So
Mhm.
like, come on, man, like you see that, cue up your camera guys to show that. I don't know. That was weird. It didn't look like enough of a push that it would get called,
Got
and
you.
that would be my advice to Riq. I didn't get to talk to him after, but it looked like Riq's been asking for OPIs all year, and he didn't get one until last weekend when it was egregious.
Yes.
So that should have taught him. I would think it has to be egregious for you to get it. You're probably not going to get, whether that's fair or not, by week 15, that you just got to roll with how the refs are calling things. That's just the
Got
facts, you know. But yeah, him penalties, Josh Jobe,
Yeah.
the holding you're referencing, that it didn't kill their second drive. It was on Olu because they ended up getting a first down after that, but then they got sacked later.
That killed it.
Yeah, I think that was
3rd and
Abe
2
getting
and
beat.
y'all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
third
and
and two sack.
those are the little things that just came back. And to be honest, I thought they were going to run the ball on 3rd and 2 just because I thought they played we both did. They played so well on the ground, but for whatever reason, they went through the air, 4-man pass rush. Geno goes down. Now you have to settle for a field goal. So I guess play calling came into that as well. But I mean, we can nitpick now, but watching it live, I didn't see the same Seahawks team that we had saw in the last 3 to 4 weeks that was having a better identity of who they were on both sides of the football. And that goes back to your point about the coaching. The guys just were not prepared. Meanwhile, Green Bay, that first drive, you could tell, well, the scouting report says, oh, what's his number? Number 8. Oh, yeah, he's getting all the touches. It doesn't matter. Like, he's going to touch the football through the air, on the ground. And that, I think, that was just the blow. The Seahawks knew that was going to happen, but then for it to happen, they just didn't have an answer. We know it's going to happen, but we have an answer for that. They had zero answer that first drive. Everything they tried just was not working. They were looking at each other like, yo, is this really happening? Yes, it is really happening. Josh Jacobs is dominating you guys. O-line, wide receivers, everybody's doing their job, and Josh Jacobs is making y'all look silly. But
And the second drive too, not Josh, but I mean, yeah, second drive, that was 8 plays, 80 yards,
yeah, and then
for a touchdown.
getting beat on the slant and then getting carried. What's his name? Romeo
Romeo
Doubs
Doubs
carrying Jordan
and
and
Reed. That's tough.
yes,
That's gonna
that's
look bad in film.
yeah. What more
I mean,
could you
it
say,
looked
man?
bad in real time too. I guess film's not the only place it will look bad, but
Yeah,
yeah, that's the type of stuff. That type of play right there is really what like not having identity looks like. It's two of y'all. It's a receiver.
and it's
Get him on the
it's
ground.
not. It wasn't Tucker Kraft who we talked with Matt Schneidman last week of The Athletic, who covers the Green Bay Packers, and we talked about how Tucker Kraft is a basically reinvented George Kittle, where he's not going down on first contact. That's what he looked like on that touchdown. He's not going down. I'm like, bruh, he weighs the exact amount,
I'm looking at his weight
190,
right now. If you're curious, he's 204, 6'2", 204. Reek's listed at 6'4", 210. J Love listed at 5'11", 195. Now, who knows
Well,
whether those weights are accurate to how they're currently playing? But the point is,
two
it
of
was two of
y'all.
them. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
two of them. Yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah, it was two of them. Yeah, no, that's a perfect example of a play. It's like they probably score anyway because he goes down to like the 3 or something like that. But it was just the idea, the optics of this guy carrying y'all into the end zone. Like, come on, like that's not physical. That's not the style they want to play. There it
No.
is. The perfect example right there. Perfect example out the gate. And that was the second drive. After that, it was just, it was done. It was done. So yeah,
Well,
not great. Not great.
Well, we did get a lot of Twitter questions, man. Are you ready to do this? Because we got it. It's a lot to get to, and there's so many different ones, so many good ones. Mike, you ready for it?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Well, with Geno going down, I think that's a great place to start. So we'll go with at E_E's world. If Geno isn't hurt, do you think there was a shot to win the game?
Yeah, there was a shot for sure. Situationally, I think Geno went down. Let me check my notes. Geno went down when it was 20-3, which I mean doesn't sound great. But at that point, the defense had gotten a few stops. The defense really figured it out in the second half. Like I thought that was really good. And then they gave up let's put it, it's like, so go to defense real quick, because they're the reason they would have had a shot. Is the defense like tightened up? They weren't going to just win a shootout. Obviously, they spotted the other team in 20 points, or 17 points or whatever. Defense, I thought how the Packers scored that final touchdown was like, that's how I thought they were going to have to beat the Seahawks. I thought they were going to have to grind it out, and then Jordan was going to have to make some plays on third down, because that's really what that was. Like Spoon is beat for sure, but that's a tough throw and catch. Like you're not just going to keep beating Spoon on plays like that. Like their first couple drives, that stuff's repeatable. That's bad. But if they got to throw a heave on, that's barely a toe tap on third and whatever, like it's gonna be hard to beat you. That's how I thought they would have to beat them. So I thought the defense really tightened up. I do think that was encouraging that they fixed it. And that is why they probably would have had a shot with Geno, because Geno's also much better in those catch-up situations. We've seen Geno, he functions just really well. Oh, we're down 17 or whatever. Come on, screen here, check down here, scramble for a first down here. Okay, deep shot to Jackson. Let me find Tyler for 7 yards on a quick out. Like he operates really well, commands it, plays with the tempo. Like he looks like a veteran out there when they're playing catch-up. And the defense was getting them credit. The defense really gave them a shot here. I had a tweet at one point. Let me see. The Packers at one point in the second half, their drive chart was punt, field goal, punt, fumble, punt. Like the defense had tightened up really well. And I think the next drive after that was a turnover on downs. So they had locked in. I do think there was a chance. I don't think they would have won, but I do think there would have legitimately been a chance. Like I even think Geno got hurt on first down. So it would have been 2nd and 10 in Packer territory for sure. So I think they would have had a shot, but I just think overall the way they came out was really discouraging, and they put themselves in a place where they had to play catch up against another good team. You just can't keep doing that. That's not the way to live. The Packers are good. They're a good team. They were a good team when they came in. A good team leaving out of here. So yes, I do think they could have had a shot for sure. However, I do think it's still problematic how they came out. Didn't look prepared. It looked like another pass happy game plan from Grubb. Looked like another game plan in which he's like, our O line's better than their D line. It's like,
Yeah.
Grubb, that's arrogant. That's arrogant. It worked against Arizona because Arizona, we've established Arizona's D line is not like that. But I feel like he should have been better prepared. Like the Packers were calling plays as if they needed to out scheme the Seahawks. Like they weren't just going to get hat on hat. And they did. They out schemed them and got some hat on hat stuff too. But like really, really just put them in conflicting situations. So yes, I do think they would have had a shot. It probably would have been like a 1-score game or something like that, but I think the fact that what's more problematic for me is that they were even down 20-3 at the crib in the first place.
Yeah, well said, Mike. This next one is from Football Girl Anna. If Geno misses more time, is there any way to bring a serviceable backup? Is Joe Flacco taking calls?
I don't think it would get to the Flacco point. Though I'm sure he would come in and spin, man. He's in there vibing. He really is. Him and Jameis just come in there and vibe. And I don't even necessarily mean that as a good thing. They just really just vibe. Any play could be a pick six or a 70-yard touchdown with guys like Joe Flacco and Jameis. Like it really can. And you see it. You see it play out. Like Flacco had all those good vibes, got to the playoffs, and turned into a pumpkin. 'Cause that's kind of who he is. Same thing watching Jameis. That's kind of who they are. If Geno has to miss time, they're just gonna have to roll with Sam. And I'm gonna say this nicely. I don't know Sam personally. I don't root against him for him. Cool guy. I talked a couple times. It's not really a personal thing, but I do think that this was necessary, mostly for the fan base, maybe for some of the people in the front office too, to see what it looks like when it's not Geno back there. Because it has been clear to Chris and I this entire time that Geno, for all his faults, is masking and has been masking a lot of problems, particularly up front. And he gets the ball out on time. He gets the protections to the right place. Like he checks to run a lot of times when they need to. And Sam, now he's thrown into the fire right away, but he just is not as equipped. And that's not a knock on Sam. We've been telling you all this. We've been looking at y'all like you had three heads. When you say, "Hey, Chris, Mike, should we see what Sam Howell looks like?" It's like almost got me looking up more languages to learn how to say no. Because maybe just saying it in English doesn't do it. Maybe this will help. This is what it'll look like every week. But with this scheme, which is very pass happy, with this protection group, with this run game, the run game could be better. And I'm sure it probably would be maybe a more run focused game plan if like they knew Sam had to start. But this is what it would look like, guys. Like Sam led the league in interceptions and sacks last year. Like it's really hard to do both. It really is in the same year. You know, he threw for a lot of yards and stuff. I think he led the league in dropbacks by like 1 million. You know, like I'm really not trying to just dump on Sam. I'm really dumping on anyone who really, if you needed to see this to be like, oh damn, yeah, maybe Sam's not that good. Then it's just like, yeah, just weren't listening or trusting me and Chris or anybody. There's a lot of people out here who were saying it for a while. You know, like that's not the answer in this particular system. This isn't like when Jordan Love went out and they had Malik Willis back there and they were still going crazy. You know, like Matt LaFleur does a much better job helping his quarterback out schematically and just with their identity. Like I think the first game that Malik Willis played when Jordan Love hurt his MCL or whatever, Josh Jacobs ran for like 200. You know, like they were functioning offense. And you look at some other offenses where it's not like that. Dolphins without Tua, they were a UFL team. You know, the Seahawks could not function on offense. What was Sam today? I didn't realize his line was so bad. And it's crazy because I was live tweeting it. He was 5 of 14 for 24 yards and a pick. And the pick was atrocious. You know? Right to the linebacker.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. Come on. Like, what are we doing? And it really sounds like I'm piling on Sam, but it really just felt like if for a minute there, I just felt like me and Chris were going crazy. We get these questions about like, let's see what Sam was like. Let's see what's Geno not it. We got to see what we got in Sam. And it'd be like, yo, bro, y'all watching a different game? Is y'all stuff in Spanish? Like, I don't know. Maybe we should slap the TV, you know, adjust the antenna. We can't be watching the same games. And that's really how it felt. And I was it's like, okay, I didn't want Geno to have to get hurt for it to be the case, but like, hopefully y'all saw it today and we're like, oh, yeah, man, maybe everybody knows what they're talking about. You know, because it's just not it. With these circumstances, this is like if you drop Sam and like, who's got a good situation? Minnesota. Their O-line's good, scheme's good, play caller's good. I bet you he'd look serviceable. This is not that. This is Geno's degree of difficulty is high, and it's not just because of the O-line. It's the scheme too. It's the what the play caller defaults to when he wants to score points, and it's the design of things. They don't use play action. They do a lot of pure dropbacks. Don't run the ball much. That's hard. That's hard stuff. Geno makes that look easy. And now you see what it looks like when there's not Geno in there. And trust me, this would look like this probably against Minnesota too. But maybe even worse because Minnesota's defense is worlds better than Green Bay's defense.
And I don't want to pile on.
Go ahead, Sam. Pile. This is the pile question. We can pile on this question.
I just want to say that I haven't seen the all-22 yet, but that play looked like 4 verts, and he just didn't read what defense they were in. He said in the post-game conference that it was cover 2. Yeah, it looked like it was cover 2. And he just threw it right to the linebacker thinking it was cover 3, and he just could attack the seams and just didn't see the linebacker, which is insane. But because maybe he just couldn't see over the old line. I do not know. I don't have answers. But there were a couple of plays. I'm just watching him throw like he has the timings off. He's holding the football forever. He just didn't look comfortable. Not to mention, they're playing from behind. So guess what the Packers are doing? They're like sitting on everything because he's new in there. They were just sitting, just waiting. There were, I think, 2 other passes that could have been picked, but they were broken up. One was nearly intercepted. I just felt bad for Sam in that situation. He was thrust into the fire. The Packers were like, you know what? We ain't need to really send no pressure. We're going to just send 4 dudes, and you're going to make a mistake. And yeah, he made that fatal mistake of just throwing it right to the linebacker. I believe it was number 56. And those are plays you just can't have. You just can't make those. And then in my head, I'm thinking, wow, if Geno was in there, we would have seen a dot somewhere. But that's just the situation that they were put in. Now I know in the red zone, Geno has had mistakes, and we will get to that question. But I think now, as Mike mentioned, it's finally put to rest. It was clearly Geno is the best option. He is able to make up for a lot of situations that, damn, I don't know how many quarterbacks can do what Geno's doing. Heard a lot of discussion. Oh, Kirk Cousins is better. Kirk Cousins can't move. Imagine if Geno played in cement. It would be really, really bad here in Seattle. So I think everyone now realizes Geno is not the best, but man, what the Seahawks have going on, he is the best that they can go with at this point in time. Unless you can pull Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, there's just not much you can do. And Geno makes up for it quite a bit. And hell, I know he wanted to get back into the game on Sunday night, but his ankle is probably the size of an elephant. He couldn't move, just too much. And hopefully he's healthy because they're going to need him for this stretch. I'll be honest. They go out there with Sam Howell next week against Minnesota. I ain't got to do the pod. Mike can do it by himself because you know how it's going to look.
And Chris compared it, last thing on this, but just compare Sam's situation today with how Geno looked when he was thrown in there on Thursday Night Football a few years ago. He went 98 yards on the Rams team that I think that year went to go win the Super Bowl. Like went right down on them, 98 yards. And then I think led another scoring drive right after that. So it's like, even if you want to compare just the thrown in versus thrown in situations, like Geno looked very comfortable in that situation, much more comfortable in that situation too. So keep that in mind as well.
This next one is from Steph Beam 22. Did tonight prove how important Geno and Olu are to the offense?
I'm not sure about Olu per se. I mean, I'm sure Olu is better than Jalen Sundell. I don't know. Actually, could be. I'm not sure. I'd have to really sit there and look. But definitely Geno. Like, guys, I really can't. If you really watch, I mean, honestly, you ain't gonna watch around the league because I've been saying that for a few weeks now. Just watch the Packers. The Packers do a real like when Jordan Love does something hard, it's really just because he wants to, if that makes sense. Like he feels like Jordan ups the degree of difficulty on his own. Sometimes he's like, you know what I'm about to do right now? Throw it off my back foot to Romeo
Across the
Dobbs.
body.
Yeah, like that throw that he threw to Dobbs for the touchdown. Like he does that like back foot, like kind of moonball thing like once a week, and it's a whirlwind. Either it gets picked or it's a touchdown. Like he does that pretty much every week. Yeah, he throws across his body when he rolls right, throws back left. He did it like twice today. Like Jordan just makes stuff hard. He does. He likes doing that. But the scheme itself is designed for him to do just easy. Here, here's a little pop pass to Jaden Reed. Here, cool. 11 yards, first down, reset the sticks. Boom. A little screen pass to Josh. Shoot, they even ran the Seahawks tunnel screen today. I don't know if it worked, but they ran it.
Only got 4 yards.
It didn't work, but they ran it, right? So like they do simple stuff, and then every once in a while it's like, all right, cool, take a deep shot to Christian Watson. Okay, like check it down to Tucker Kraft. Like their offense is designed to make Jordan's life easier. Just every like 3 plays a game, he's like, nah, put it on all Madden right fast. Like, but he does that on his own though. The scheme itself is usually pretty good, and so this is not Geno's not in that. He's not in a heavy play action, not in a heavy like move the pocket scheme or with a good run game no. They have like 4 good runs they love. Now for the last 2 weeks they've been working. Like that little counter action, that's still working. But that's like the only one that's been hitting. That and they were running a bunch of duo against the Jets. So it's like they found some ways, but I think this was a really good illustration of what a QB-friendly offense looks like. The Packers probably have the most QB-friendly in the league. The only other one would probably be there's 2 other ones. The other one would be Minnesota, which we're about to see. And then other than that, it would be the Lions, which the Seahawks have already seen hang a 40 ball on them. So that's what it looks like. It's not just that the O-line's better, it's the scheme. It's the idea that like we need to make the QB's life easy. And Grubb's kind of thing is like, it's like, oh, well, Geno's really good. So it's just, he can do all the hard stuff. So let's do the hard stuff. It's like, well, okay, whatever. But do the easy stuff too sometimes. Like last week was the easiest game Geno probably done played all year, on offense. They were able to run. They ran the ball as many times as Geno dropped back for the first time all year. That's Jordan Love's probably had a bunch of games like that. Better offense. So yes, I do think this showed the importance of Geno because he is playing on all Madden all the time. When guys like Love, Darnold, Goff, they're all playing on like what's under all Madden? I ain't played in a little bit. Is it all pro?
All pro. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they'll play on all pro, or whatever is below that. Whereas Geno's on all Madden damn near all the time.
Next one is from Sean M. I think the last name is Gagney. Hopefully I'm saying that right. If not, it's Sean M. We'll go with that. Geno in the offense every week inside the 20s. What is the issue?
Yeah, this is unfortunate. I feel bad for Geno, man, because he is a good quarterback and he is generally a good decision maker. But he's making bad decisions in the one place you do not want to make the bad decisions. He has 4 red zone interceptions this year. One of them is trying to throw to AJ Barner on a little tight end like slip behind the line of scrimmage. I actually don't think that was a bad decision. AJ gets tripped up by a D lineman. It's fine, whatever. But the pick 6 against the Rams, he threw a red zone interception against the Cardinals at home. He threw another one today. And I see what he was trying to see. It's a very popular concept. Corner route mixed with a little comeback. You think the comeback holds the corner. You run the comeback, or you think the curl holds the corner back, that is. And you try to run a little 7 route, back pylon. He's got the leverage on the safety. Boom, hit it. Cool. That's fine. That's not fine, though, when you're trying to throw it across the field under pressure. It's a bad decision, And it's not like a sack would have knocked them out of field goal range. I think they're on Chris, the 12 or something like that. Like even you take an 8-yard sack, you're on a 20, 37-yard kick. Boom, J. Mize got it. That still would have only made the score like 17-6 or something like that. But it wouldn't have been a pick. Picks are bad, So I don't. And if you really just look at those 3 plays, the Rams pick 6, the Cardinals interception, it's like 3 bad decisions, which in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad. However, I do think not only does Geno lead the league in red zone interceptions with 4, which is not a high number, but it's still the highest in the league. I think I looked it up during the game. He's like the highest in interception rate in the end zone too, which accounts for how many, or in the red zone as well, which accounts for how many passes. I think Daniel Jones is the only person throwing red zone interceptions at a higher rate too, which is just not good. Can't do it. And I think all of those plays, the pick 6, the Cardinals interception, which he was trying to throw to Tyler, and the one today are all an example of the same thing. Forcing it. He's just forcing it. He is. I think 2 of those were on second down. The one today was, and the pick 6, I'm pretty sure it was. The other one I think was like 3rd and 6 or whatever. Like, he got to live to fight another day. And it's weird because he knows that and then just gets there and it's like, I can make a play. So I really just think he's forcing it. And it's weird. Like I said, he knows that. Got to stop doing it. It's really not even that schematic. Though if I did have to offer like a schematic thing, it would really help if they could run the ball down there. And the Seahawks can't run the ball in the red zone with consistency. They can do it here. They can do it there. But like not consistent enough to where Geno's not like, oh, I gotta make a play, which is also the sign of a team without an identity. Because those other teams that I'm mentioning that have those QB friendly offenses, when they get in the red zone, well, when Aaron Jones holds on to the ball, those other 3 work really well. Like the Lions in the red zone are cash. It's like the Packers in the red zone, there's like after like the first few weeks have been cash because they know like Josh Jacobs gonna get us in there. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get us in there. David Montgomery is going to get us in there. Aaron Jones will probably get us in there, but if not, we have Justin Jefferson, and we're going to find a way to get him to rock. Like they just have these ways. Now, those aren't all the best red zone offenses per se, but in those particular like QB friendly systems, you just see a theme there, and the Seahawks don't have that. When they get down there, we got to throw it in there. Which also though is not the end of the world because like the Bengals are like that, and they score a ton of points. Let me look at the best red zone offenses real quick, Chris. Let's look. Here's the top 5. The Ravens, very obvious why they're in the top 5. The Lions. Somehow the Bears are there. Weird. The Bills, they have Josh Allen. And then the Bengals. Yeah. You can see why all these teams are in the top 5 except the Bears. I have no idea how they're in there. But like, I really don't. I don't know. And the rest of the top 10 is the Bucks, Commanders, Saints, somehow. Broncos, and then Eagles. So you can kind of see, and Vikings are 12th. So you can kind of see what it takes to get in there. The Seahawks just don't have an identity down there. It's really like Geno hero ball, and then it leads to him forcing stuff.
This is from B-Boy Casual. Is anybody on the O-line, including Cross and Lucas, worth keeping long-term?
Man, Chris, it feels like no, but of course it's yes, because it's just you can't just rebuild your entire O-line at once. But it does feel like if you were a fan of just a casual football fan, you're like, damn, Seahawks still ain't got no O-line. Like, like even if you haven't been paying close attention, you're like, damn, man. Oh, they still don't have that. Like Russ was complaining about this. Now it's like Geno, not Geno's complaining, but it's just every week it feels like there are just some egregious bad reps. Like last week was the cleanest they've played, but I really do feel like last week was the worst D-line in the league. I just do. Because they don't even have like that dude. Like some D-lines are bad, but they still have like a guy, like a first round pick or something,
Cardinals ain't got
Cardinals don't even have that, They got some high picks, but no one crazy, and the Packers, I know Schneidman wasn't high on their D line, but it's like, still got Rashawn Gary, still got that Kingsley cat, who I think I wanted the Seahawks to draft. They got dudes who can get to the passer, and they did. And yeah, it looked like it wasn't even no tricky stunts or nothing. It was just like Southtow was beat, Abe's beat, Lakin's beat. It was just like pretty clear wins by the Packers. I haven't rewatched all of them, particularly some of Sam's. But like when Geno was in there, it seems very clear. Like, oh, guys are just getting beat. And how are you supposed to live in that world? You know what I'm saying? You just can't. You can't live in that world, So I think to answer the question, yes, I still feel pretty good about Olu, particularly in pass pro. I feel pretty good about Charles. I haven't watched the film, obviously, but I feel like he was decent today. Abe's been hot and cold with the penalties. He had a bunch of penalties in one of his games a couple weeks ago where he just lined up wrong. It's weird. Got penalized last week too. He's been hot and cold. Still will probably keep. No one's worth like dumping at tackle, but yeah, it's hard for. Put it this way, there isn't anyone who's like, yep, you gotta pay him this offseason. Because some guys are, like Lakin's on a 1 year. Lakin's on a 1 year. Abe could get an extension this offseason if he wanted to do that because he's played 3 years. Charles could get one because he's played 3 years, but I wouldn't be rushing to do that with anybody. I mean, I got to see the whole season, but today was the wrong day for them to just not be able to pass protect.
This next one is from Aaron Ahmad, BC. What does the path to competent O-line look like? Draft? Developing? How many years? Feels like developing the offensive line and the rest of the roster on different timelines.
The different timelines thing is interesting. I don't think that they're on a timeline. I think it's just John's just throwing stuff at the wall, hoping it sticks. That's really what this draft felt like. Took 3 linemen. It was like one of them's got to be good. That's what it felt like.
And it's the 6th rounder.
There were 2 6-rounders, Jarrell and
that is true.
Yeah, and then Christian in third. I mean, the path is just getting guys who can ball. But also, I really do feel like there are O-line. I want to word this correctly. There are not many schemes that you can implement that work consistently at a high level if your O-line is not good. You do need like a baseline functioning O-line to run a good offense. There's not many good offenses with bad O-lines, unless your quarterback is a Superman. And even then, he's probably going to get hurt. That said, there are more O-line friendly schemes than what the Seahawks currently have. Like the Seahawks scheme is currently, I'm about to oversimplify it, which is a little unfair, but you'll get my point. It is Geno is in shotgun and they run counter. And Geno's in shotgun and they run a tunnel screen. Geno's in shotgun and they run quick game. And then every once in a while, Geno goes play action and they throw a deep shot. That is basically the offense. That is not O-line friendly. Like I was thinking that when Sam went in. Like Sam went in, they were just like, all right, Sam, shotgun, quick game, go. I was like, what, bro? That's just not like as soon as Sam came in there, they threw it was a screen. But it's like it just felt like they thought Sam was like Mahomes. So like, come here and just run the same offense. I was like, that's so weird, bro. And they have their backup center in there. Now, granted, that's the center that snaps it to Sam most of the time, so it's not totally backup if you get what I'm saying. But yeah, you got to get better dudes in there. But I also feel like you got to help them out more because I complained about. I thought there was a weird sequence, Chris, going on Geno's interception. It was like they threw the tunnel screen, which teams have clearly sniffed out. Grubb's got to adjust the tunnel screen. That it hasn't worked in like 3 weeks. They done sniffed it out. Stop that. And you could tell he's trying to dress it up different. Like he ran it to JSN today out of the backfield. Didn't work. Ran it to DK last week. Didn't work. Like it's just it stop. Let's figure out something else. But so you run a tunnel screen, second and 9, Geno like lobs it up to this Carrington Valentine fella, almost gets picked. And then he throws another pass over there. It's like 3 straight runs off from like the 13-yard or 3 straight passes. It was just like, I understand you got to throw on third down at that point, but it just felt like that would have been a time to like, that's what I mean, like not having a O-line friendly stuff. It's just pure drop back or that same tunnel screen, which does put a lot of pressure on the O-line because they got to get out and move and hit their landmarks and stuff like that. So yeah, I just feel like, yeah, you need better guys, but I also feel like they got to find a better way of helping their O-line out, which right now they're not doing a good job of.
Chris Patrick Morgan, the sacks and short yard situations are migraine inducing. Is it down to poor execution up front, poor play calling, QB holding the football? What gives?
It's all that, dog. So I think, Chris, we not decided, but we had talked about like there's probably nothing more aesthetically unappealing than like a failed shotgun run. Like those just look so bad. They look way worse than like an under center run that doesn't go anywhere.
Because it's front and center on who got destroyed at the line of scrimmage. Like as soon as it happened, like damn, number got destroyed. Under center, it's all muddied. But when it's in a shotgun, it is very obvious who got their ass beat on the offensive line.
And it looks so bad. It's an ugly play for the offense. It really is. All right. A close second is any sack on short yardage. Like those just always look like, what are we doing? And I want to be fair to Grubb because last week they were effective in short yardage throwing the ball. They had 3rd and 1 on the first drive. Noah Fant wide open. 3rd and 1 on the second drive. Or excuse me, on their next third down was another 3rd and 1. Noah Fant open in the flat. They had a 3rd and 1 at the goal line, I think. They threw it. Farrell Brown was open. Geno missed it. So like it's not as if they can't throw in short yardage. That's fine. Throwing on short yardage is not inherently bad. But I do feel like it should be quick hitting stuff like they had last week. Like last week was like really simple. Okay, cool. We got this little rub action. Boom, Noah's open. Even the goal line play to Farrell, that was like the little mesh concept they love. Cool. Yeah. But today it just felt like there was a lot of faith in the front. And I don't think it was warranted. And I just think it wasn't warranted. I don't even want to expand on that point. Yeah, I think, but it's all those things. Lack of execution, all that. It's like, it's not no one thing. Now I'm sounding like Mike McDonald. But it's not, I hate when I do that. But it's not no one thing. Like, if they just execute better, they'll be fine. Like the play call needs to be good. Execution needs to be good. Guys got to win. The Packers covered really well today, actually. They covered really well. But I do think it is pretty frustrating when they at third. Shouldn't take a sack on 3rd and 2. But like I think the sack on 3rd and 2, Abe just gets beat quick. Like I want to cut Grubb some slack there because if you tell me, hey, is this play design requires Abe Lucas to hold up against Rashawn Gary, I'm like, cool, run the play. I wouldn't be like Grubb, that's stupid. You know what I mean? So I don't want to say like he's an idiot. He's not. But yeah, I'm with you guys. And the idea of like when Geno takes a sack on like a 3rd and manageable, it's like takes the wind out of your sails. 3rd and 12 or whatever. It happens. Like 3rd and 2. Oh, I'd rather you just run it, or something like that. I don't know. I'm with you guys though. There's no easy answer, but I share in the frustration. It just looks bad when you take a sack in a 3rd and manageable situation.
Thorsten, he drops in. What is up with DK the last few weeks? Even if JSN is great, 3 targets in a game where they are constantly trailing seems a little odd.
Yeah, I think, Chris, this goes back to a theme we've had, for years now. It just feels like other teams are better at getting wide receiver one the ball, even if he's covered a certain way, you know. And we talked about this on standout plays, the way DK's gravity helps other dudes, and that's fair. But they came out today being like, I feel like the Seahawks and Eagles kind of came out the same way. They were like, you know what we should do? We should feed our big guy. You know, and I think Jalen's first pass today was to AJ Brown, you know, who ended up scoring today, had a big day, right? Because AJ had to complain about getting the ball, but maybe DK should do that. They got the same agent, you know, went to school together, you know. Maybe he should try that. Maybe he should just be like passing, and then he'll get the ball. But no, I thought that was really disappointing today. It just didn't feel like it felt like DK was very similar to how, if you watch the Cardinals, which you guys have the last couple of weeks, like the Cardinals they kind of treat Marvin Harrison Jr. like he's just another guy in the system, not the 4th overall pick. You know, they're just like, oh, if he's in the read, we'll throw it to him. If not, it's kind of whatever. Whereas when you watch like the Giants, no matter who the quarterback is, so many of the plays are designed for Malik Neighbors. Like so many. Like if you have Malik in fantasy, you feel what I'm saying. Like he gets a lot of targets, not a lot of catches. Outside of a couple weeks ago when he too complained about getting the ball. We're sensing a theme here. Complain.
DK.
Yeah. Malik had 14 targets today with Tommy DeVito and Tim Boyle as the quarterback. 14 targets, right? You know, so it's like it does feel like there is ways to get DK more involved. Like he can't just be the decoy. Like it's helpful that he can do that, but I think Chris, like you talked about the game script earlier. The first pass was to DK on I think each of the first 2 drives, right? So I think they started the game with on each of their first 2 series throwing the ball to DK. How many catches did he finish with?
4?
3? 4? Let's look. We got the internet.
We'll check. Yeah.
3 catches. So that means he didn't catch another ball. He caught one other ball after the first 2 drives. That's inexcusable. I don't care what coverage they're running. I really don't. That's just inexcusable. Yeah, he had no targets in the second quarter. What do you have in the third quarter? He had 1 target in the third quarter for 6 yards.
And then Sam didn't throw him the ball at all.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't care what they're running. I don't. Like no, for real. At some point, you just got to make him involved. You know what I mean? Run one of them little pop passes they run into Jaden Reed. Run one of those to DK. I really just don't care. He needs to touch the ball. That's just it's mandatory. There's no way on God's green that Sam should throw Sam dropped back 19 times and didn't get the ball to DK. Now he was sacked like 4 times, but that's still 15 other throws or whatever, or 15 other dropbacks. That's just. He just felt like he was force feeding Noah, a lot of check downs that he was throwing late. He just looked out of whack, no rhythm. But yeah, I don't think it's a DK problem. DK looks fine to me. Doesn't look hurt, anything. Looks fine. He's blocking really physical too, you know. He's running good routes. On one of Sam's check downs when they were backed up, like they're on 4 or something, DK's streaking down the sideline open, you know. But yeah, I just think that they got to make more of a concerted effort. It can't just be like the opening couple drives, like, oh, yep, we got DK, a couple touches, we're good. Nah, man. This has been a problem for years. I remember that. Remember Chris in that it was like that Saints game that Geno started in 2021. I think it was Monday Night Football. He had like an 80-yard touchdown on Michael-Shawn and Lattimore in like the first quarter. And then I don't think he caught another ball to the 4th. You know, it was just like, come on, man. It ain't that hard to get the ball to DK. You know what I mean? Like, if it is, I'm gonna get a new coordinator. I'm gonna get you someone who can. You know, yeah. So in that game, I just looked it up because again, we have the internet. He had that 84-yard touchdown on Michael-Shawn Lattimore in the first quarter. He finished with 2 catches. Like, come on. So this has been a thing before, and it can't be. It's inexcusable. It's inexcusable. You got to get him touches. I feel like it's okay if you just start forcing the ball. Not like in the case of getting in harm's way, but like. There's a healthy way to do it. And again, we've seen it. We've seen Malik Neighbors complain about it, got the rock. AJ complained about it, got the rock. Debo Samuel complained about it too, got the rock, but didn't catch it. But he did get the ball. He did get the ball. You know, so that's what they got to do with DK. It can't just be like just earlier in the game, particularly in a game where you're throwing a lot like they were today.
This is B-Boy Casual has 2. The first one is Woolen a liability? Is he a potential trade chip? Damn, y'all want him out of here, huh?
No, I think no to both. because there are just going to be just ups and downs with playing corner. Guys get beat. Derek Stingley looked like prime Darrelle Revis today. I've seen him get barbecued, right? Like it just kind of happens. But that said, I don't think Riq is doing himself any favors with some of the plays that he's giving up, because some of them are just like, it's stuff that you can easily assess, even if you don't know ball that well. Like he had one against the Buffalo Bills. He just lost jump ball to Keon Coleman. You don't want to see that. He got beat on the game winner, against the Rams, DeMarcus Robinson.
Yeah, that was easy.
Today he just doesn't locate the ball in the Christian Watson joint. Did he give up a touchdown today too? Can't remember. Riq didn't give up a touchdown today, right? No.
Damn.
Oh, he did. The Romeo Dobbs.
Oh yeah, the slant. Duh, we talked about it.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? It's stuff like that where I don't think it's liability. No, the answer is no. But I can see the where we're going with the question, because it does feel like he has a lot of just moments where you would expect like more like strapping up. Because look at the names we're talking about. Like Romeo Dobbs is like cool, Keon Coleman's like, I think they're number 3 receiver, behind Coop and Khalil Shakir. And then Dobbs is like, he's fine. Who was the other guy we said? DeMarcus Robinson is like their third. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not who you want to see. Like if CeeDee Lamb gets Riq, it's like, okay, well, that's good on good. That's gonna happen sometimes. He's gonna get his, it's gonna get him back.
Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, them type dudes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody gets beat at some point. That's not there's no corner who gives up 0 yards on 30 targets. That's gonna happen. But you definitely don't want the ones to guys that are just a guy. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be more than a guy, you want the one you want him to win those. Just like we feel about Charles. It's the same thing. Like we talked about on the show. I don't never want Charles Cross to get beat cleanly by a dude who I gotta look up. I gotta be like, who's number 68 that just blew by Charles? What the hell? You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. I want to be able to be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, Charles just lost a rep to TJ Watt. It happens. You know what I'm saying? Not some like 6th-round rookie situational pass rusher. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think Riq's liability. His numbers and stuff is actually still kind of decent, but I get why that question's coming. He's put together some he's had some bad reps just at home too. That kind of sucks. Now people are watching you at the crib and they're like, I paid a lot of money. I'm watching you. You know what I'm saying? It's tough. It really is. It's tough. So no, not liability, not trade chip, but I can just say, yeah, he didn't play very well today. I think at some point in the first half, I think he accounted for 88 yards and a touchdown, either by penalty or just by catches. That's tough.
Part 2 of the question is from same guy, B-Boy Casual. Thoughts on McDonald punting in that 4th quarter instead of going for it?
Dang, do I have the numbers in front of me? Who was that? Oh, here it is. Wow. Just soon the internet. It's a great thing. It just had to switch to a different tab and it was right there. So it was 4th and 5 from their own 37, down 23-13 with 9:45 left in the 4th quarter. And they punted. 4 minutes later, they ended up getting a turnover on downs and they got the ball at the 39. So they sacrificed about 4 minutes for 2 yards of field position. Would I have kicked it? Hell no, I wouldn't have kicked it. Because I felt like they were putting their defense in they were like, oh, go get another stop. Go get another stop. Go get another stop. Like, why don't y'all just hold on to the ball? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I would have wanted to tell Mike McDonald in that instance. I mean, if you don't get it, the game's over. But it's also like, get it. Like that's really the mindset that I would have. Like, obviously, you have to factor in not getting it. But that moment just felt like, dog, how many stops? As soon as they lined up to punt, I was like, damn, bro, how many stops are you going to ask your defense to get? And the answer was too many. They got another one, and then Sam just threw a pick. So it ultimately didn't matter. But I don't think that was good process. I thought they should have went for that. Now, we were just talking about how the offense looked with Sam. They probably wasn't getting that. Let's be real. However, still bad process. Thought they should have went for it. Who knows? Maybe they could have got it, But yeah, I didn't like that. You guys know me though. I'm captain and never kick. But yeah, there's a couple of people tweeted their models too, their 4th down models. I think the homie Ben Baldwin's model said go for it. Seth Walder that uses they have like an ESPN fourth down model. I think Seth said their model said go for it. So yeah, Mike, you should have kicked, or excuse me, you should have went for it. Kicking was very cowardly there.
This is from Mar D. MD. Did Russ steal the 12th man or something? What happened to our home field advantage?
Yo, so okay, two things. I don't know if we talked about this before, Chris. I actually never really felt that like there was some like Lumen Field magic. The false start thing is obviously very tangible. Yes, it gets loud, people can't hear. But I do think it was a very chicken and egg situation. The team was very good, so they won a lot of games. They won a lot of games pretty much everywhere, not just in Lumen. Obviously, they won a lot of games at Lumen. But I do think like I was always like teams tend to have a home field advantage like just when they're good. Like because when you're good, you just win a lot of games everywhere,
Chiefs.
particularly at home, you know? Yeah. So I think it's a good example, you know? And I don't know. I'd have to dive into more of the business side of it because it does feel like, Chris, this year there have been more visiting fans for sure. It's felt like that. Like the Bills were in here deep. You know, the Packers fans were in there deep, bro. I could hear the Go Pack Go like every other drive.
I could hear it on
Every
the
other
broadcast
drive.
too.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild to me. I've never seen it like that. And the Packers have been here before, you know. Bills hadn't been here in a minute, but you know, I just don't feel that. You know, it's very rare I see that out of the division the way I've been seeing it this year. Like if Niners fans pull up deep, cool, it happens. Niners have a very big fan base, whatever. You know, like even when the Raiders were here in 2022, that was, and Josh Jacobs had that 86-yarder, that was crazy loud. Raiders fans were in there so deep, but Raiders fans are kind of a different bag. They're kind of crazy. And I really didn't feel the Raiders fans' presence until overtime. Whereas I felt Packers fans from the get. Like they were chanting "Go Pack Go." It was so loud that the Seahawks fans were trying to boo to like drown it out. But the problem was the Seahawks had the ball. So it felt like the offense is getting booed when they didn't even do nothing wrong yet. It was a very weird situation. Packers fans, I feel like, took over. I don't know if it impacted the game at all, but it definitely made it weird. It felt very weird. And it definitely felt weird in the context of like Mike is trying to get that back, that idea that like Seattle is a tough place to play, you know? And it's they're still chasing it because it fell off with Pete for sure. Everybody was coming in here winning. Colt McCoy was coming in here putting up numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like it was everybody was coming in here. Who was that in the last home game? It was like Mason Rudolph or somebody. Mitch Trubisky, one of them two on the Steelers, just came in here and was just bombing it all over the place.
Yeah,
in the
George
last home
Pickens
game.
was out there killing.
Yeah, you know, so everybody was coming here getting dubs at one point, you know. But then we see like Daniel Jones, you know, coming here getting like now we're seeing it's continued. So I don't know if that's like people are selling their tickets more often, you know, trying to make a bag because of the economy. I don't know. Is it Trump's fault? Not sure. But that's got to change too. But I really do feel like I bring all that back to my original point. I do think it's a chicken egg thing in that if they are putting out a better product, that won't be a problem. I feel like people will be less inclined to give away or, you know, sell your ticket to a Packers fan. Because, Chris, their offense at home, man, these prices ain't cheap. I wouldn't be shelling out that type of cash to come to the game. Like, just you look at their home games? Their home games, Evan. Now let's look at those for a second. So Broncos game was cool. They ended up winning that. Dolphins game was cool. Then after that, they lose to the Giants. Then you come back, lose to the Niners at the crib. Thursday Night Football. Come back, get shellacked by the Bills. Come back, lose an OT to the Rams. You come back, your offense lays an egg in week 12. Thankfully, your defense is, you know, still curtain. And then you come back and then you lay an egg again. To start all of these games, I'd say when I say lay an egg, that's not enticing nobody to come. You know what I'm saying? I understand what's going on. But I do think the answer is be better. If you be better, the fans will be there, and they'll start to drown out more of those road fans.
I forgot to add this one on the defensive side. This is from your cousin Demetrius Dugar.
Yo,
How come the Seahawks defense is bipolar?
Put our psychiatrist hat on. I don't think the defense is bipolar. I think Matt LaFleur won today. I do think that's really what it was. Because even there's a shout out to the homie Adam. He's in London. I shouted him out before. I told him to go to bed after the second drive. Let me see. Yeah, he texted me. This is at 5:47, so this must have been real early in the game. He said, "Sorry, Adam, I'm reading our messages," but he said bed is so imminent, like you're about to go to bed, because I think it's like 3 in the morning over there or something like
2
that.
or
They're
3,
like, yeah, they're 9 hours, I think, ahead over there, right? So I said at 5:48, go ahead and go to sleep. And he didn't hit me back until 11 o'clock. He said, I went to bed. What happened? I said Geno got hurt. And then I said the defense figured it out though. And then he said, "Oh damn, I never texted him back." He said, "So the first half was more of an aberration on defense, and then I like the message because I do feel like the defense figured it out. I just feel like Matt was better than McDonald to start, which is not super surprising. Matt's been to multiple conference championships. He's a really good play caller. Again, I don't think the defense like bipolar. I think that they're still growing pains with the coach and a new scheme, system, and all that. And when you go up against experienced dudes like that who had an extra day to prepare, make sure we mention that because that is important, I think, today. That's what happens. I do think generally they'll be okay for the most part. We'll see because Kevin O'Connell's really good too, OC and head coach for the Vikings. The only thing that I thought was kind of troubling were two things that weren't schematic. It was Josh Jobe and Riq locating the ball.
Oh my gosh.
They were underthrown passes, which is like unfair.
No,
like
no. Chris Collins
Collinsworth
said it
tell me what Chris
perfectly.
said. What did he say?
He said, if you are beat by 2-3 yards, you lose. You can't give me there's nothing you can say that's like, oh, they should change the rule. No. You're getting beat. You lose. I'm sorry. Do your job. Don't get beat. And I was like, you know what, Chris? You're right. I don't need to be complaining about guys running down the field, underthrown passes. You're beat. You're beat by 2-3 yards. You lose. There's nothing you can tell me that says, you know what, it's okay. You didn't do your job on that possession. Josh Jobe did not do his job. He was cooked. Period. End of story. Harsh, but a reality.
100% agree. The other thing, I'm not even going. You're right. Chris is right. You're right. Both the Chris's are right. The tackling wasn't good.
Oh my gosh.
That was, and it sucks missing tackles in primetime, dog. Because I feel like primetime, I don't know if they're just using better cameras or what, but the slow mos of missing a tackle or dropping a pass on primetime looks so bad. It looks so bad. Like that looks demoralizing. Like it just, I can't. Yeah, it's hard to really describe. Like I feel like it looks 10 times worse. Like the joint, like Ernest missed on the open field of Josh Jacobs and like little check down. Like it looked bad in real time too. But then the slow mo was like, oh my god, sheesh, that's rough. But those are the two areas I was really like, that don't got nothing to do with the scheme. Like stay on top of your man, like in terms of like the routes, because like you said, you're beat because you're not on top. Stay up top. And the other thing is like make your tackles. Like Ernest missed a couple. I think Rayshon. I thought Ernest just wasn't good in the first couple drives. I missed his press conference. I read the transcript before me and Chris recorded. I'm glad he took some accountability. It also confirmed like, okay, I wasn't bugging because like I have 13 with a circle around it, which means you got beat in my notes. I have that like 4 times in the first couple drives. I was like, yo, what's up with 13? Like he don't play like this. And he played much better, got the fumble. But yeah, I thought it was really just as simple as just guys were just not tackling and covering. Simple stuff like Mike McDonald said after. Stuff they had been doing for the last month. They just didn't do in a game that mattered a ton.
This is from GZ. Do you think the Seahawks can win out or at least beat the Rams? And I believe it's Geezy. So I'm going to go Geez. Geezy.
Win out? No. You could lose to anybody when you play like that. And if you don't have home, I guess they only have one more home game left. Wow, really? That sucks. Dang, what's their home record?
Really bad. I think they're like, damn, what are they? 3 and
Wow, it's 3-5. Wow,
Yeah.
that's awful. I'm sorry. No on the win out. Yes, you can beat the Rams. I honestly don't think the Rams are that hot stuff. Now, I don't think the Seahawks are either.
I mean, shoot,
Defensively, I think the Seahawks are solid.
check your point differential, Mike.
Yo,
Surprise,
yeah.
surprise.
I was looking at the point differential. I tweeted that out before I left the stadium. I had to double check the Rams joint like 6 times. I was like, there's no way they're 8-6 with a minus 28 point differential. That means they've been getting smoked.
Well, actually, they've been winning those games, but they've also been giving up 40+ points because they were positive.
Yeah, but that means you've been getting smoked though, because it's a differential. So that means you had to have gotten somebody had to smoke you, for you to be in the negative 28. Let me look at their schedule real fast. We're going to this next question. Let's see. So they took an 8-point loss to the Dolphins. Oh, they lost by 17 to the Eagles. Yeah, but then they won by 7, won by 2, and then won by 6. So that's 7 plus 2. That's 9 plus 6 is 15, or plus 15 in the last 3 weeks, and still are negative 28. So that means at one point they were minus 43.
They
Jesus
got packed up by the
Christ.
Cardinals, remember? 41-10 earlier in the season.
And that's their only blowout loss until the Eagles in week 12. So yeah, that's weird. But anyway, yeah, they can beat the Rams. I don't think the Rams are that hot stuff. I didn't think they were that hot stuff in the Bills game. I was like, oh, their safeties are bad. But then I was like, also, their offense is not that hot. That the Bills safeties were really bad. So it didn't surprise me that the Rams offense did nothing against the Niners on that Thursday night game. But anyway, yeah, I think they could beat the Niners. Win out? No. I think you're looking at probably, what is a split? What does a split get them to? 10 and
8.
10 and
7, excuse me.
10 and 7. Yeah, I think they can get to 10 and 7. That'll be my guess. 10 and 7. So they lost this one. I think they go 2-1 the rest of the way.
All right. This next one is from Josh Royce. What positive do you take from Sunday night game against the Green Bay Packers?
Damn, do we got positives? You got positive?
I would say, as Mike McDonald has alluded to, it's still right in front of them. So, as ugly as it may have been, very cliche and it's honest, it's still right in front of them. They still have a chance to do something. So, they got to win next week. Playoff mentality. Woo woo. But yeah, that's the only positivity I could think of. Mike, what you got?
Yeah, that's not for much for me to go on there, sir. Let's some positive. Okay, here I'll work really hard. JSN, still very good. That works. Let's see.
My man said I'm gonna work very hard. Said JSN.
Nah, he had a good game.
He did.
He had a good game. Let's see. JSN.
When you said work very hard, I thought you were gonna give me something deep. My man said, "Oh yeah, JSN. Led a team in catches. We good."
That might be all I got, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know what? Actually, I thought they moved the ball well at times. Like they were getting, like after the first drive, I feel like they were moving it okay. And I felt like Geno was actually moving. Yeah, Geno was 15 of 19. I actually don't think he was bad. I actually thought they were moving it okay. Yeah, so on their first drive, they only got 12 yards and then put it. But then they had 50 yards, 53 yards, somehow an 8-play, 29-yard drive. Oh, that must have just had a bunch of penalties.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they get a field goal.
Third and 29 on that possession, I believe.
Yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah, they had a bunch of penalties. And then they end up with the field goal drive. This looks like this is after. Oh, this is when Geno gets hurt. So, and then after that is when it got bad. So I feel like with Geno, they were actually moving the ball fine. Like I feel like if they get like if they find out Monday morning, oh, Geno's cool. Like I do feel like the offense they're always going to be able to move the ball on pretty much everybody. But Chris, that's probably it. Oh, and the defense. The defense turning around in the second half. I do feel like the second half defense is closer to who they actually are. That does not excuse the way they came out in the first half. Because like I was talking to Chenna after the game. I was like, is that maybe encouraging that, you guys turned it around in the second half? He was like, not really, because we never should have came out like that to start. We have a standard and we didn't beat it. And I was like, I like this guy. I was thinking the same thing, but it's nice for him to say it. I should have used that quote in my story. I'm going to use that this week. But yeah, like Jenna was like, no, that's not encouraging because we never should have came out like that. We should have came out to our standard. And I 100% agree. But I will disagree a little bit in that is encouraging for me because I'm currently fishing for positives. So I will take that. So there we go, Chris. We got positives out of that. Good.
There you
Good
go.
job. Good by us.
Got two more. This first one is from Gum Gum Bales. I'm sad. Can you guys give any hope, insight on the issue of our home crowd? 12 men is so dead, and it sucks. So give
Yeah,
some hope,
man.
Mike.
No, that does suck, man. That because that really was even if I disagreed with like the magic of Lumen, it was a the perception is reality. Other teams felt it. You know what I'm saying? Like they did. It used to be tough to come in here, and it's not. It's easy to get tickets. It's easy for you to feel like your team can take over the stadium. And that's probably more of an economic thing that I'd have to really dive into. But I still am firm in that if you just win more, they're gonna come. They're gonna be there. Because right now, man, it would have been very easy. If someone was like, Mike, Chris, I ain't going to that game, man. Like, man, Jordan Love, Geno and them, man, I'm good, bro. I'm gonna sell my tickets, make $100 or something like that. Order some chicken wings, watch it at the house. It would have been hard for me to be like, man, don't do that, bro. You gotta be there, bro. It would have been tough for me to make that case. So I understand where some of the fans are coming from. Shoot, I hung out with one of my homies, a Packers fan, morning of the game. He was able to get tickets right before. So I get it. I understand being sad because the other reason that it sucks because the only path really to being a contender is to get home playoff games. And it's to feel like you have an advantage if you get those home playoff games. So like right now they're fighting to get the 3 seed. You get the 3 seed, you want to feel like
at home.
well, you see, you want to feel like if the Vikings have to come here, if the Packers have to come back here, you're like, oh, we got this. It's going to be hard we're going to protect our building. If you can't protect your building, that's tough, man. You can't just live on being road warriors. That's not an identity. No one builds any foundation of a successful team off of that. Like, oh, we're good. We're just going to win on the road. No, you do it if you have to sometimes. Like the Chiefs last year were like, well, damn, we slipped up. We don't get to host the Arrowhead Invitational in the playoffs. We got to go on the road, which they did. They went to Baltimore, handled Bears, got out of there, Super Bowl champs. But they didn't want to do that. They want to play every game at Arrowhead. They want to have that advantage, and the Seahawks want that too. But it's very discouraging that that's just not the case right now. And I think in particular, it's really discouraging that the offense come out not cooking in these first halves. That's tough, man. Like that's when people like they're drunk and stuff, and it can be cold out there past October, man. I'm not trying to see no 3 and outs for the first hour. It's cold, bro. My phone done died. It's raining. Throw it to DK. I understand all those feelings you guys feel when you be at the games and cold, wet. Like today, it's cold out there. I had 3 points at half. I might have left. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand that they got to fix that, and I think the answer is just to win. But I do think it's also to come out a lot better in these first halves, particularly on offense.
This last one comes from QB1, our guy Josh at C Sports Bros. Do you have any sense of how ownership feels about John Schneider? Will he have a long leash with McDonald, or would they let McDonald help them pick a new general manager? Goodness gracious. Wow. Will he have a long leash with McDonald, or would they let McDonald help them pick a new GM as in this offseason?
Yeah, I think what's up, Josh? Also, I think that a lot of people ask the version of like, can we get Schneider out of here? So kind of address all of those. I have come to the conclusion, I doubt it. I'll be very surprised if Jody looks at this and be like, you know what the problem is? John. Because there have been some encouraging signs. Let's look at this from like, I feel like Jody would want to give John the benefit of the doubt. I feel like we can all agree on that. Probably because he just freaking did it. Got Pete up out of here. That took a lot to get Pete up out of here and keep John. So you do that, you're giving John the benefit of the doubt. If you want to look at a positive outlook from like just a talent acquisition standpoint, one, John went and got you Matt McDonald. So if you like McDonald, well, John went and got you him. So that's like point for John. They produced the defensive player of the week the last a couple times in the last last few weeks. One of them is a 4th-round pick. That's John, you know. And you would think, oh, well, Pete develops the DBs. Well, he's gone. And Kobe's playing the best ball of his career. You know, Leo, a John get, you know. If you just, again, we're just looking at this from like, if you're someone who wants to give John the benefit of the doubt. The D-line is about as good as it's been in quite some time. You know, John put that together. The O-line, strike against John. That's not good. Receiving room, points for John. You know what I'm saying? Like you can, it's very easy to like, it's almost like Chris, you've seen movie reference time. Have you seen Why Did I Get Married? Tyler Perry joint? Yeah.
Come on now.
So for those who have not seen the movie, Tyler Perry movie, Janet Jackson is like I think she's like a teacher / like therapist. Yeah, type person, right? So her friends are all going through things in their marriages. Janet is too. But for the sake of this, her friends are going through things in their marriages. They come to Janet. They're like, yo, my husband's tripping. What do I do? Should I leave his ass? Janet's like, you know what you should do? Grab a pen and paper, write down all the things that he's done that you like about your husband or that he's done well in the last like year or so. And then write all the things you don't like or all the things that are bad about your husband, whatever, the last year or so. I'm paraphrasing, but that was generally the gist of the assignment she gave her friends. She says, if the good outweighs the bad, go work it out with your man. If the bad outweighs the good, lawyer up. That was the gist. That's the same thing with you that I'm sure Jody would do with not Mike McDonald, with John. Sit down, make a list. Good things John has done, bad things John has done. Make a list. Good outweighs the bad, get him out of here. Or good outweighs the bad, keep him. Bad outweighs the good, send him to Carolina, right? So those are kind of your two options. I think that if Jody was to do that exercise, like I'm putting my Jody hat on, now I'm a billionaire. It's very easy to see how she would come up with the good outweighs the bad. Should she? I don't know. But I do feel like it would be very easy for her to do that, particularly because you got to give John went and got you Mike. So if you believe in Mike, that's the guy who got you Mike. So I feel like it's going to get you a lot of points. Should it? I don't know. Probably not, honestly, in my opinion. But you get him. So that's a score for John. I feel like when Jody does that exercise, it'll come out in John's favor. So no, I do not think that there's a scenario where at this point, John and Mike are not running this back in 2025.
Well, look, it's late. We appreciate all the love and support. We thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Seahawks Man to Man. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Seahawks Man to Man. Make sure you follow us on TikTok. Same thing, Seahawks Man to Man, and on Instagram as well. We appreciate all the love and support. We will come back with more content. We have a Seahawks stream for Bleacher Report on Mondays. So if you want to see us there, we'll be live on Bleacher Report around 12:30. Check us out. We will also have our One Big Thing followed by opponent preview as the Seahawks will take on the Minnesota Vikings next Sunday. And then on Friday, as you guys know, we'll find some plays that stood out to us from this loss against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football. Mike, is there anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Just really appreciate you guys, love and support. Hope is not lost. There's some things they can fix. So we appreciate you rocking with us. Chris broke down the schedule. He's right about all that. I'm gonna try to hit up our homie Alec Lewis, covers the Vikings for The Athletic, does a great job. Try to get him to be our guest this week. Subscribe, like all the stuff Chris said. Appreciate the love. We will catch you guys later in the week. Peace.